It's way on up there. But I'm going to do a brief genealogy. The genealogy consists of many of us. What we forgot. After 8 years of studying my genealogy, I found many of our people were forgetting one issue. We're all one family. And studying the genealogy, many of us today are doing genealogy and finding out that you're doing your family line. Now remember now, the genealogy consists that many of our families stayed together, made it together. And that's how we made our people. So I'm going to briefly do Uncle Peter's genealogy and why we're here today. Because many of you here today are families of this Ahupua'a. We're not just saying one family, all families. And that's why I thank the good Lord for giving me the opportunity or the blessing to understand the genealogy. But doing genealogy is not a simple thing. It's something that takes a long time to understand how it works. Well, I'm going to start up on Uncle's father's side of the line. I'm going to take 5 generations to him. Uncle Peter's line on his father's side comes from Kalakina Kelihoa Keakeka. His wife, he resided in this Ahupua'a of Kolokohonokahau. His wife was Kolokia Kaueno. She's a La'anui line. She comes from Ponaiki. So this is how it starts off. These two, husband and wife, they had separate fathers. Their mother, they had the same mother. Her name was La'anui. So there were 14 children within this family. All those 14 children had married on to many other families, which are all sitting here today. So what I'm saying today is that many of the makuas out there, because we're losing our kupunas, need to stand up to the plate and start understanding genealogy so we can all move ahead. Because our mopunas are the ones going to suffer. So as losing Uncle Peter and letting him go, I hope a lot of us makuas today understand and open our eyes and get to the point and pull ourselves back together like the old days. But I'm going to start up on Kalakina's line. There were 14 children. You have Peter Keka, who was changed his name to Whitmarsh. He was hanai by his grandmother, Sister Loe, who had married William Whitmarsh, who was born 1808, arrived in Hawaii in 1848. That child was named Whitmarsh, but he's a Keka child. He carried the name Pendergraft. Second child was Willie Keka, William. Third, John Johnny. That's the line my Makua Kani comes from. Kupuna Peter, Haleaka, and many others. The fourth child was Catherine Kaliko o Kalihua. She had married Henry by Ale Kama. The next child was Louisa. Her name was Louisa Keka. That's Auntie Caroline Ma'i Smith's line. The next up is Kayama Keka. The next child was Ka'anapu Kalakina Keka. Next child down was Lo'e Keka. Out of these 14 children, Ka'awila, John Kayama Keka. These 14 children married among many families. So as taking the next step, we'll remove John. We're going to go directly with Uncle Peter. John Johnny, his marriage was to Julia Keaupuni. Julia Keaupuni's name was Julia Kamaka Keaupuni. Her mother was Malia Mary Kamaka. Father was a Keaupuni. So Julia Keaupuni's dead. Tutuman John Johnny remarried again. And his second wife was Mariah Kanuha Kaniao. Okay. From there, we'll move Tutuman down for his child. They had many children too. Many had Hala. But we'll take Pika, who is Uncle Peter's grandfather. Pika. All of these 14 children reside here, but they moved along the Ahupua'a. So we'll go to Pika. Pika had married Emma Punuku Kauhi, who resided in Nawawa. Her father was John Punuku Kauhi. Many of you sitting here today are all bloodline. But there were 17 children in that line. And The first child in there was John Iona Keka. He had resided in Hokokano. The second child were Josine. His name was also named as Joseph, but his name was Pokelo Keka because there was two Josephs. The ninth child was Joseph Io Keka. Anyway, I'll brief the names down real fast. John Ilka Kepa was one. He was born in around 1915. Second child, Joseph. Josine Pokelo Keka. That's my grandfather. That's Uncle Peter's father. Third child was Jack Kelly. They call him Peter also, Keka. The fourth child is Malia. They call him Mary Keka. The fifth child was Francis, carried the name Francis Palakiko Keka. The sixth child was Sarah. Her name was Kela Keka. Seventh child was Rebecca Kapeka Keka. The eighth child was Joseph Iokepa. That's why we were confused because there were two Josephs. But one was known Iokepa and one was known as Pokelo. The ninth child is Kaimeola Elizabeth Keka. 10th child was Julia Keopuni Keka. That child was also named after the grandmother. Vincent Keka. As we go on, after Tutuman had passed away, Tutuahine, Emma Kunuko Kauhi had remarried again. And the children were Filomeno, Violet Trinidad Filomeno. Next child down is Leonard Palacido Filomeno. Next child down would be Lily Catalina Filomeno. Natal Pualani Daisy Filomeno. These are the children, 17 of them. Coming down would start the next breach of our Makuas. So that's the line. All of these marriages, I don't want to take too much time, but all of these marriages, all of you sitting here today and studying genealogy comes from a lot of these marriages. So the understanding on the father's side and today is that we're all one people. We're losing our aspects in the future. Our kids don't understand. As Makuas, we need to take control of it. So we're going to go to, we're going to move this and go to his mother's side. On Uncle Peter's mother's side, his line comes to the Kuhina line. That's Mama Lili, Koiho, Keka, and Chera. In that line, it starts with Kuenhina line. We'll come generations way down. Great Tutuman Tutuman Okihe, who had married Makakau Lua, had 3 children. First child was Keluia. He had married Kekapa, had no children. Second marriage in the Kuhina line was Koi Kai Kai. Koi Kai Kai and Wahini had married, came down to marry Huakahela line. Okay, they had also children in there. We come from the line of Makua. Makua had married Kulola. Out of that reunion, there were 5 children. First child was Kupuoi. He was also known as Kahananui. Second child is Kuikeolu, his brother. That was also another Kahananui. Third child is Naluwahini. She's also a Kahananui. There's also the name Kapuli, they call Puli. That was also another Kahananui line. The last child in there is Peel. So understanding this, when I say the brief and the short name, their names are longer. So we'll take Makua and Kalola, made those children. So our Lili Kuiho, my grandmother, her great-grandfather was Kupuoi Kahananui. They had founded under another name, Kupuoi Kahananui Keka. His name was not Keka. The name Keka came out of his sister, Nalo Wahini. Nalo had married into the Kanihalo Pono line, which made 2 children, Wahini Kapo. There were 9 children. The 8th child was named Keka. And that's why we had to redo the genealogy. Second child out of that marriage was Mokihana. Now, Mokihana's line in that line. There's many marriages. There were 5 marriages. So doing the genealogy for many other families, we always got to remember we're all one. So what I'm saying today is that Makua's middle generation, let's not stop at this. Let's move ahead and pull our families back together like the old days. There's no such thing as who's up here and who's down here. We're all on one level. And we have to think that way because we're all God's children. So today, what I want to say to everyone here today, thank you. Thank you so much. And always understand when you get into genealogy, there's only a few that's going to understand. But I'm letting everyone here know, and the ones that, everyone out there that didn't come today, bless their soul. But we're one people. Don't forget it. I don't care who has the most money, the more land or what, or who doesn't have anything. All boils down to one thing. We're all equal. And we need to move together. We forgot about the old days. We need to bring it back. We have a group of Makuas that are trying to familiarize and try to pull our families back together. But don't forget now, we're all bloodlines. And doing this genealogy, I found many things that I couldn't understand, but the doors opened up. So that's the Mokua how. There's more to it, but I just want to brief everybody. That's where Alpha came from. The Ahupa Kaloko Holoko How is where his great 5 descendants from Tutupita resided here with many other families. We're not saying Kekas now. We're saying all of us. The reason why we say all of us is because we're all coming from the same blood. Because when people justify the genealogy to our people, always remember this. Yeah, the blood comes from one area. So that is Uncle Peter's line. So the names that I was reading down in those Heka line and also in the mother's line, all of you sitting here today are all connected. And all I want to say to everybody is, let's bring the old days back. And I thank the federal park ranger, the federal government for letting us in here. Because usually they don't hold funerals down here. But the reason why we decided Nina had said this is because this is where Uncle Peter's descendants came from. 5 generations. Your generations also. So I just want to state to everyone today is that we all have different Hawaiian names. We all have all kinds of names. But don't forget, the blood is in all of us. And I just want to say today that I pray that many of us can get together, the Makuas, and bring the old days back. Let's not wait any longer. As our kupunas are passing, we're losing everything. And if we don't step up to the plate and listen to our kupunas and take that information down, it's done. Our mopunas are going to suffer. So native and non-native, let's look at each other equally, because we're all God's children. So I want to thank everybody today for coming. I know many couldn't show, but again, many of you who do genealogy, look at it real good. So I took my dad all the way back to New Zealand, and there was a blessing. Because many of the Mokahau shows that we come from Bora Bora, here and there. But my Makuakani, I took him directly back to New Zealand. And many of you families out there, many of you sitting out there, I do have your genealogy. I was blessed by the good Lord above. And not anyone can pick up a book and understand the history of genealogy, because the names today that we're using